Well, this is a nice big stack of books that I'm not keeping and I didn't like. Winning! Hi, welcome to Christy Grace Scarlet Pen. I'm an author, creativity chaser, book lover. Book lover is the majority of what I spend my time talking about on this channel. You're welcome. Today I have this very large stack of books because if you were watching, probably not, but if you have seen, probably not. If you want to go see, probably not. I did a year ago maybe, a video where I bought a mystery box of books, like a bargain mystery box of books. Found out that a bunch of them I couldn't keep because they were just not for me. Some of them I did keep and some of them I did read. These are the ones that I've managed to keep hold of. Book number one, this is Now by Ciara Gerharty. That's what I'm going with. It follows about 5 characters who are in the middle of a bank robbery at the start of the book, and then just follows them in their life afterwards, and them trying to sort of deal with what happened after the fact. I love bank heist sort of main characters in the middle of bank heist stories. I think they're fun. I mean, they're awful, but they're, you know, in terms of crime stories, they're pretty cool and they're interesting. So this was, I was really excited to read. I basically DNF'd this, I think it was after chapter 1. It was very violent, very quickly, and I just did not appreciate the level of violence that was happening at this bank robbery. I just did not gel with this whatsoever. Apparently there was also a lot of cursing in there. I don't like a whole ton of cursing. Like, that's something I can deal with, but like, I don't know. And to be honest, I didn't care about any of the characters enough to care how they were going to end up at the end. Like, I needed a little bit of setup. This is who this person is. This is who that person is. This is who this person is. You didn't get that. So I'm like, why do I care about these random strangers in the middle of a bank heist? You haven't given me a reason to care about them. That's why the bank heist storyline is so good, because you know the characters already and now you care that they're in the middle of the situation. We didn't get any backstory about these people. I had no reason to care about them. So that was a no for me. I'm gonna lump these two together because the reason that I got rid of these two is the exact same. So Second Time Around by Raymond Corey, I think that's how you say his name, and Jack Higgins, who wrote Eye of the Storm. I'm sorry, I did that in reverse. Eye of the Storm by Jack Higgins. So I got rid of these 2 books for the same reason, in that the trigger warnings were awful. Apparently there is graphic violence and gore and stuff like that going on in here, and I think one of them even had some other stuff in there that I was like, I don't know about that. So that's why I got rid of these. I never read them. All right, the next book we have, I'm gonna actually flip things around a bit and I'm just gonna do this one. So the next book I had was called All About Us by Tom Allen. I actually made it all the way through this book. All About Us is essentially a story about a guy who's in a relationship, his marriage. It's a little bit, it's going a little bit south, you know, they're not 100% in anymore, and he gets a chance to go back. There was a girl that he thought maybe her, and if he'd have, you know, been with Alice instead of Daphne, his wife, then maybe things would be different, maybe his life would be better, maybe his life would be different. He sort of gets the chance to go back and relive moments in his life and see, would that have changed anything? How would I have done it differently? So after reading this book, I think I gave it 3 stars. It wasn't bad. I'm not keeping it, but it wasn't bad. So here's the deal. It was fine. I don't need to own it. A retelling and a reimagining of A Christmas Carol. And it sort of does lots of Christmas scenarios. The story itself was, you know, okay. Nothing amazing, nothing bad, just okay for me. The way that some of these characters treated each other and the things that they did, I just don't... It was okay. Look, I get it. People are going to make mistakes, especially in books. Characters are just going to be, you know, ridiculous because they just are. They just always are. But I just didn't feel it. I didn't actually care, to be honest. I didn't really care. The next book I had was Sail Away by Celia Imrie. I don't know if that's actually how you say her name. She's actually an actor, apparently, I found out. You know, that she's an actor. I had no idea. But this book is about 2 elderly... I would say elderly, 2 older ladies, and and one of them just doesn't end up having a place to live because there's been a snafu with her home selling and her kids are idiots. And so she ends up going on a cruise because she literally has nowhere else to stay. And then the other character, and that's Amanda, the other character we are introduced to is Susie, who is an actress who gets roped into this low-budget production because she can't find really much any other work, and it gets cancelled, and she has to try and find her way home, and so she ends up on this cruise ship working so that she can actually get back home because she hadn't been paid, and there's all this problem with this production. There was way too much setup before we actually got into the main plot. Like, these ladies did not get on the boat for ages. Like, I was waiting for a cruise ship novel, and it took forever to get backstory, and half the backstory, quite honestly, I didn't care about and didn't need. It took a really long time to actually get in onto the boat. When they were finally there, I actually almost didn't care anymore. It took so long that I actually almost didn't care anymore. The only thing that kept me holding on to this was the mystery side of things. So this does have somewhat of a mystery of like, why the heck did this, production, this show, this play get shut down all of a sudden? Like, it's all a bit mysterious. There's some stuff going on with another actor who comes on the boat with Susie. When sort of a big part of the mystery was revealed, I was revolted, and it put me in such a bad mood all day that I decided to not finish the book. No. It's a big no for me. The next one was The Hidden, and that is by Mary Chamberlain. I made it, I think, 2 or 3 pages into this book before realizing it really wouldn't be for me. I am not a huge historical fiction person, so if I am reading the historical fiction, it really has to captivate me, and it has to have a plot that's going to be really engaging and really interesting. At the minimum. I'm a plot girl. I'm not really a characters person. I'm more of a plot person. But also, this was like World War II, and again, I'm like not a war person whatsoever. Like, not even close to a war person. I just really don't. No. That's nothing personal to the story of the book. That's just a me thing. So, okay, I'm so excited to talk about this one because I actually really liked this book, believe it or not. And it was A Family of Strangers by Emily Richards. So I really enjoyed this book a lot. I think I did like 4 stars for it or something. I really, really liked it. The only reason I'm not keeping it is because I genuinely don't think I'll ever read it again. There are books that I keep. The only ones I try to keep is if I genuinely think I'll read it again or it has some sort of sentimental value. The way it ended, the characters annoyed me. So, I just don't think I'll read it again. That's why I'm not keeping it. However, it was a good book. I really did like it. So, the story goes, this has been so long since I've read this. 2 sisters, Ryan and Wendy. Ryan has always been the one that hasn't had her life together, and Wendy has always been Little Miss Perfect, who's married with 2 kids. Then all of a sudden, Wendy goes missing and calls up Ryan and says, can you please come back home to our hometown and look after my 2 girls, because her husband is like, I think he's in the Navy on like a submarine, and so he ain't around to look after them. But she's like, can you please come and just look after them? I have to leave, whatever. There's this big mystery that surrounds why Wendy has disappeared and what the heck is going on. But Ryan just goes, she's not sure at this point. She's like, okay, fine. So she goes home to look after her 2 nieces, and she doesn't really know them all that well. And she's not a mum herself. She's single. She's like not in, she's not really maternal. And so she goes and tries to look after these 2 kids. And it's sort of also trying to figure out what the heck went on with her sister Wendy and what's the dealio. She ends up reconnecting with someone who she knew, an old boyfriend that she knew when she was there in school, and they sort of try and figure out what the heck happened to Wendy and what is going on, because she's gone way longer than she said she would. I kept my brain working and wondering what was going to happen next, and piecing things together. I think I did guess a whole ton of it, but if you wanted to read A Family of Strangers, it was actually really good, so I would recommend you reading it. These last 2 are both non-fiction books. War Gardens by Lalage Snow, I don't know. A Journey Through Conflict in Search of Calm. So I have been going back and forth on this book, on whether to keep it, on whether to try and read it, on what to do with this book. It's more of like a journalist book, going through in the midst of these war-torn places like Afghanistan and stuff like that, that they are, there are people who still see the beauty in life and who can still find the beauty in where they're at and their surroundings. So like gardens, for example, like, you know, tending to a garden in the middle of a war doesn't sound like something that you would ordinarily be drawn to. But some people do it, and they're holding on to their sanity in doing that. And so it's supposed to be really nice, and there's some stories, like personal stories. Oh, I still have a bookmark in here. And there's personal stories, sort of this journalist's, you know, journey. I hate that's, anyway, whatever. Discovery of some of these things. But I feel like a lot of the times when you're talking about something that's beautiful, being able to see it rather than describe it is better. Someone else can enjoy it. And the last one that I have is Finding Freedom, about Harry and Meghan, and is written by Omid Scobie and Carolyn Durand. And I read this, okay, so when I got, I'm not going to go into too much detail because I have an entire very long blog post that compares this book with another book about Harry and Meghan called Revenge by Tom somebody. And essentially this is the pro Harry and Meghan. Harry and Meghan have the biggest love story of all time, and they are the best people in the whole wide world planet. And then the other book is basically, Revenge is basically, Harry and Meghan are probably not the greatest people in the whole wide world, and here are all of my journalistic and like investigation sources as to why that is. This book was basically just take my word for it, and I didn't. At the time of filming this, like we've already done, like they've had their Netflix and their Harry's Book Spare, which I refuse to read. So when I got this, I was kind of excited to read a bit more about them and their story and sort of hear a bit more. But now that I've heard all about everything that they think in their side of the story, because the British royal family, in a touch of classiness, is not going to respond. I think that's very classy of them. And also, you know, it's probably the best way to go about it. Because if they counter, then it just gives Harry and Meghan way more stuff to throw at them. But anyways, so I read this because I wanted to sort of get the pro-Harry and Meghan side and the anti-Harry and Meghan side, and I did, and I compared it. It's a very, very long, in-depth review of both of these books. Let me just say, in terms of if I liked this book or not, I'm getting rid of it, obviously. This is my unhaul pile. I actually didn't keep any of the books that I had from that haul. I liked one, I was met about one, and everything else I didn't like or I didn't get through. So I didn't actually keep any of them, but I did read some. So there you go. But the reason I'm not keeping this, look, I was the person who was giving Harry and Meghan the benefit of the doubt because I don't know them, I don't spend time with them, I didn't know much about their actual relationship or, you know, the personal goings-ons at the time. And then of course they splashed it all over the internet with Oprah and books and TV shows and everything like that. Quite honestly, this was basically a love letter to Meghan. Meghan's amazing, Meghan's the best thing ever in the whole wide world, and if you don't believe me, this should convince you, and it didn't. It really came across that way of Meghan's the best person ever in the whole wide world to ever walk the planet, and if you disagree, you're a douche. Yeah, no. No. And then also there was this ridiculous back and forth of, we didn't help, we didn't give sources. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. This is so pro Harry and Meghan are the best things in the entire world. Of course you did. Of course you confirmed things for these. There's no way. The authors were actually two journalists in the royal court, I believe. But like they were very close. They got access. So I'm like, I don't believe you. I don't believe you saying we didn't help them. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I am saying that like it's fact, but I don't actually have any facts. I have no evidence to back that up. Like none. But I fully believe that that's the case, that they did help, they confirmed things, they maybe even helped reshape some bits and pieces and stories if they think that something went a little differently in their perspective, in their opinion. The other book actually had multiple sources and gave multiple options rather than just saying this is the way it happened. Trust me. Trust in me. No, I don't trust you. So there you go. Anyway, those are all of the books that I got from that haul and that I just, yeah, I basically didn't keep any. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the adventures.